As kids, we constantly get asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? But at a young age, how am I supposed to know what that truly means? I spent years thinking I had to do a conventional job, like a doctor or a teacher, nurse, vet, and things like that. However, as I grew up, I realized I didn't need to do what society wanted me to do. So when it came time to when I graduated at 18, I was unsure of what I wanted to do with life. I decided to take a gap year with no motivation, no goals, no nothing, just spur on the moment taking a gap year, which I now realize there was more cons than there were pros, yet at the time I didn't weigh those out. In this speech, I will explore how a gap year can have a negative consequence and why careful consideration and planning before choosing to take a gap year is very important. As someone who personally took a gap year, one of the biggest struggles was the lack of motivation. Losing momentum, not going straight through and continuing the education made me not want to go back. I spent the entire year of my gap year working in hopes to not become financial debt for the rest of my life. When the pandemic occurred, we all took a step back in our academic career. It gave many people a reason to take a gap year. After 12 years of school, to just go from 12 years to nothing was a huge impact. According to a BBC News article, students need to think about why they want to take a gap year in the first place. I think for me, I never weighed the pros and cons. For me, it was a last minute decision, which I live to regret now. I often think about how I could have taken general ed classes while determining my major. If I did this, would my lack of motivation not be as strong as it is today? We'll never know the answer to this question because it didn't happen. During my gap year, I allowed myself to question what myself and the future might hold. In a New York Times article, a baseball pitcher stated, "Maybe you're starting to doubt yourself, your ability a little bit. Sometimes it's important to remember how good you are." When taking a gap year, you question a lot of things. Was this the right decision? You have self-reflection, a lot of time for self-reflection during these moments of uncertainty. Rather than personal growth during my gap year, I view it as a harmful because it led to the lack of motivation and direction. In addition to losing momentum, I experienced a feeling of being delayed in my life due to taking my gap year. For decades, 12 years to be exact, we go to school surrounded by the same people, you have the same friends, but now I'm a year behind. Seeing all these accomplishments and knowing I will never get to experience this with them is hard. The feeling of isolation, envy, even of watching your friends and the people you went to school with move ahead is hard to see. In a Forbes article, it stated, consequently, they miss out on celebrating right alongside you. The isolation you feel from your friends and not getting to experience the same things with them anymore. It comes back to the same question. If I went straight to college after high school, would I still feel this way? I still believe going directly to college from high school is the best path to take. Another thing with being a year behind, the question is, will there be fewer jobs available? I often think because of this year off, I'm so behind everyone in life, which is kind of crazy because we're still so young. As AI and technological advances continue, there will inevitably be fewer human jobs. Now that I'm a year behind, does that make me less likely to get the job I want? In an article about fewer jobs being available, it states job insecurity in today's workplace to increase employee performance. People are already fighting for jobs that AI will eventually take over. So I often sit here and think, was taking that gap year a downfall in my life? Furthermore, taking a gap year after high school does have advantages, such as enjoying life. Enjoying life can be interpreted in so many different ways, but in my experience, I worked and I got to travel a little bit. College can often be a financial burden, and many students get severe debt afterwards that live with them throughout the entirety of their life. A CNBC article states 81% of people with student loans say they have to delay one or more key milestone because of their debt. Debt based on student loans shouldn't live with us forever. We all want to go to school to better our lives, get the money, get the job we want. From the same article, a graph shows 42% of delaying paying off their student loans, 40% delay investing money, 38% delay saving for retirement, 35% delay travel, 33% delay buying a home, and 16% delay having a baby. By taking a gap year and postponing these financial decisions, such as the ones mentioned in the graph and the statistics, it can help lead to better financial stability in the long run. A gap year offers people the ability to travel, yet that still costs money that you would have to work for. Our society often overworks us, and some people need a break from reality. That might mean taking a year off of school would lead to better mental health or being happier in a way, but the lack of motivation and the horrible feelings of feeling delayed in life overpower that joy that you might feel in the moment. In conclusion, taking a gap year might be a tempting option to enjoy life, experience the world, work more, and truly know what you want to do. However, it is very important to understand the severity of the pros and the cons. There are so many negative consequences to taking a gap year, as I experienced for myself. For me, the two most significant challenges were the lack of motivation and feeling delayed in life. Ultimately, my experiences in my time during my gap year, it leads me to say going to college right after high school is the best way to go so you don't experience the things that I have.